go knight d6, I feel like,
What
is
am I
my queen
doing
doing
there?
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here we see it right away. Knight to d6, and Alireza is saying, gift me your pawn.
So do we defend it with queen a5? It's such an
Awkward looking move, right?
Yeah.
So queen a5. I think I want to play bishop e8. Queen b1.
He's going for the king side. Provoking either h6 or g6 or f5.
I definitely don't like f5 because I wanted to keep that in reserve. That
play
move
g6.
f6.
Oh, he went h6.
I don't want to play g6 when I don't have the dark square bishop.
Right.
So h6 was pretty much
Best choice, yes.
Yeah, the best choice. Bishop takes b5 on the agenda. Are we playing knight takes d7?
I think if we want to not lose material, we have to take on d7 and then take on d6 as well.
Or you could take on d7 and include rook c1 because c7 is actually still hanging.
Yes, but then knight comes to c4.
I hear you. I didn't say chess was an easy
So
sport.
Magnus is hoping for queen g4 and creating some chances on the king side.
Is he bluffing?
He's definitely semi-bluffing.
I mean, you could play knight to c4 and say, how queen g4 then f5?
Or even king h8 should be fine.
Is he considering bishop takes h6 and queen h5?
But I can always play f5 and bring the queen over to defend the king.
I'll munch a few pawns, but yeah. I'm thinking knight on b6 to c4 in order. This knight might be needed on the king side, I'm not sure. But this knight on b6 has to play a role. And by the way, the queen also has to play a role.
It's too many options.
Rook a8. That was a surprise.
And f5. Now queen g6?
Queen g6, queen f7?
Right. Are we happy with the queen trade?
Is black? Yes. I think that I have a superior end game. I'm worried about the attack.
If you go immediately queen f7, I'll take and then take on d6 and mess up your pawns.
True.
Although I still have a worse bishop against the knight.
Exactly. Exactly. So because of the threat of bishop h6, I'm expecting queen f7. Although I must say it's kind of an empty threat.
Yeah, you could play rook a3 right now.
Yeah, just as a tickle.
And what do I do, right? I don't have good squares for that bishop.
The more I look at it,
yeah, rook a3 looks very strong.
Rook a3 looks like the right move.
And he's done it.
Clock times, if you don't mind asking.
Magnus has 1 extra minute over Alireza, but they're still not in huge time trouble.
But those seconds go by so fast in Blitz. Okay, I have got to play bishop e2. I don't see bishop b1 or bishop c2 as being helpful after queen f7.
We could include bishop d6, but is that really helpful?
Bishop d6, I want to recapture with the pawn. Bishop e2. Okay, now is it time for queen f7, king f8. King f8 is not ridiculous.
King f8, yeah. I'll probably play rook c1.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
You could try to worm in over on the king side, but no, I'm playing queen f7.
Alireza going down to 1 minute. And we're hearing that Prague won his game against Wesley. Wesley made some huge blunder.
Whoa. Okay, that was a big turnaround, especially when Wesley took down our tournament leader, Gukesh.
This is what we like about Blitz, that this 2,800 players just blunder so easily.
Reminds us that they are human beings.
They're still humans, yes.
Okay, rook a2. Now I'm inclined to continue with bishop h5.
Does that stop queen f7?
No, it doesn't.
Not really, right? Well, it does, because you take twice and then c7 hangs.
It does.
Yeah. So we have our answer.
Yeah, let's go.
Bishop h5.
Magnus is ready to. And by the way, the clock times, you told me Magnus had a minute extra, right?
He still does. Alireza is down to 40 seconds.
I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. The inclusion of rook a2 and knight c4. I feel it's mistimed.
I think maybe Alireza's risking too much now.
Well, he does have an idea of getting some counterplay against the f2 pawn.
I guess I play f3.
f3. Pause, pause, pause.
Where does the knight go? Do you go back to d2?
No,
You're heading back to f6.
Yeah,
But then bishop g.
I feel it's time I've got to eliminate some of those attackers.
Honestly, not easy to find moves here.
And the players have definitely slowed their tempo.
Yeah, they're both taking their time.
Big moments suddenly. I think it's f3 though.
I think we have to do f3. What else could
Bishop f4, knight f2, or rook f2?
What else
I could
Magnus be
reposition.
considering?
Bishop f4, bishop e5, repositioning his bishop.
Maybe some in between moves. Does b6 do anything?
Yes, b6 is another one of those little
He's playing.
flicks.
There you go. That's what he was thinking about.
Well, the idea is that pieces, knights love protection. Knights love to be protected.
Look at those knights on c4 and e4.
Exactly. But a moment ago, the pawn on c7 protected the knight on d6, which is why we saw that little flick. Now, the problem is this bishop is actually really...
It's not doing much.
At all.
I think we still have to play f3. Oh, it's gone bishop g3.
There was something about f3. Just
He really didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
But notice how white's queen doesn't have many moves. It can be trapped either, but also if we're trying to attack, we need to use our queen, but we can't.
Somebody's
3 seconds for Magnus.
Whoa, Magnus's clock went down.
Time.
I thought it was Ali Reza who was behind on the clock.
This last couple of moves, Magnus took a lot of time to figure out how to defend f2.
By the way, I love that move h3. A kind of a, I
Nice
want to play
prophylaxis
g4. I want to get off the back rank mate.
We might see some perpetual now with queen d8. But Alireza,
when was Magnus ever anxious to make a perpetual?
Do we still think he's better here?
No.
No, but I mean, knight on c4 is very good.
The knight on c4. And you can always take on e5. And
well, then, if I control the c file, I might have some attacking chances.
Yes, that is a good point, of course.
Yeah, I think now they might repeat. Oh, no, Magnus is
f2 is hanging?
pressure.
F2 is hanging? What?
No, queen h4. Queen h4, trap.
Thank you. That clears the cobwebs.
But unfortunately for Magnus, outside his queen, he doesn't have any attacking pieces.
Still f2
Ooh,
is
he
hanging,
wants
but
to
no.
play g4, maybe.
Ooh.
No, knight e3 is hanging. Oh, this was a terrible move. Now Magnus is completely winning. Rook
Knight
a8. That's it.
e3.
Rook a8, and there's going to be just
Oh,
picking up
Magnus is
everything.
picking up everything with a check. Oh.
Now even the rook endgame. E6 pawn.
E6.
Just unstoppable. And there's resignation.
Wow, did he miss? Well, I think Ali Reza with knight e3 could have turned the tables. We are going to go to Gukesh.
Let's go back to the tournament leader, Gukesh. And Norbek about to have his first win. He's an exchange up. It's a technical endgame.
Yeah, but it's 2 versus 2 on the same side, which makes the task of the defender virtually impossible to hold. Rook to the f-file check. This is the way you want to drive the
black is just really
King e7.
passive
Ooh,
here.
that's a nasty move. King e7, complete
Black's going to run out of moves.
domination. Yeah.
Wow, this will be 2 losses in a row for Gukesh. That's a terrible start in the Blitz.
For sure. So rook f7 check. Oh, rook f7 check, king g6, king e6, and it was almost Zugzwang.
It's the same position.
Oh, it's
now.
the same. Yeah, the king
Transposed
f5, and it is Zugzwang.
There's resignation. Wow.
And Nordebek
Congrats to
gets his
Nordebek.
first victory.
Only one
Finally,
left.
we have Duda.
Duda against Fabi. I saw
Huge game, by the way.
Earlier, Duda was completely winning, but now looks like Fabi has found a way to save it.
It's a fight for second, but
Yeah, he's only down a pawn, but he has this counterplay on the king side.
with the light squares, yes.
Both players with just 5 seconds. It's so easy to blunder a mate here.
Truly. I mean, I would be frightened to be white, fearing that I'm blundering a mate on almost any turn.
I think I'd rather be black in this position. Are they...
Duda is defending this very... No! Oh, I was about to say young as H-pawn. No, Queen D5 defended the H-pawn.
So it's Fabi who's refusing the repetition,
It feels
right?
like it, yes. He's had his queen on F3. Kind of surprised
2 seconds for Duda.
He hasn't played King G6 at some certain moment.
Oh, but now Engine likes white again.
Are getting paid 3 crore rupees in United States, and in India they are getting paid 7.
Now Bishop D4 and I go A7.
Yeah, no, now it's definitely white. I'm really surprised he hasn't put his king on G6 just to make sure that he has. Oh, he's blundered his H-pawn.
You're so right, yes, sir. He had to put the king on G6. Now Duda completely winning again.
And by the way, in this fight for second place, this is a huge game
Duda
for
might
Duda.
become a sole leader because Gukash just lost.
And he has resigned, Fabi. Wow. Big win. Big win for Duda.
Yes. What do you have for us, Miro?
Well, I just wanted to mention the Saric's game went like very fair, and there's not much to analyze. However, Prague beating Wesley was a very short but also quite eventful game. I wanted to stop in this moment in the opening. Sorry for that, but there is one really funny idea that computer mentions. This is very normal, by the way, what Black does. Goes E5 uses this pin to win the pawn back, but usually it's done after White has castled already. And here computer says you could go Knight C3, after Knight E5 you trade, you go Queen D2, castle long, all of a sudden go H4, and White is much better. So that's computer's take on that. However, White just castled short. We've gotten some very normal position, and then I want to stop here on move 17. So Wesley decided to trade on D5, which was absolutely okay. Would he continue with Knight E7? This knight goes to D6, very solid position. And then this is where he thought, I'll be clever. I'll go Queen E5. Your queen is not defended. If you trade on E5, Knight on E5, black is fine. And what he missed is a quirky Queen C1 move, so that not only the C6 knight is attacked, but the H6 knight as well. So it was one move blunder, and of course, against Prague, you cannot really come back from being a piece down. So nice win for Prague, and a terrible blunder by Wesley saw.
The old double attack, and we throw it to you, Christian and Anastasia in Zagreb.
Just me this round, and let's take a look at this game between Nodirbek and Gukash, because there was a very critical moment. In fact, the world champion played a very good game, and at this point, it was more or less equal. All he had to do was to just simply take on E2 with the bishop. Take on E2, I take on B5. Now we have equal pawns, rook versus knight, rook and knight versus rook and knight. So this one is an easy draw. If you take on F5, then I just simply go to G8, and I'm attacking your B5 pawn twice, so there's no way you can defend this. For example, if you try to keep it and go B6, well, that's a discovery check with bishop to D3, and you lose the rook on F5, so you even lose this game. What he missed was, after rook takes E2, which makes a lot of sense, the problem is that you cannot continue taking that rook on E2, because now I'm not going to touch the bishop on E2. After knight to D4, this would be a fork and an easy draw for black. But what I will do is go B6. There is no way to catch that pawn anymore. You can do that with the knight, but then I just simply take the bishop on E2, push the B pawn next move, and this is pretty much going to be an easy win for white. So a huge blunder by Gukash, in time trouble with rook takes E2, and after bishop to B5, you guys caught the last moments of the game. That's an exchange up for white, and Nodirbek put the finishing touches quite nicely. Let's take a look at where that leaves us in terms of standings. 2 losses in the first 2 rounds for Gukash, and right now he's only 2 points in the lead, 14 points against 12 points for Jan Krzysztof Duda, who won a critical game against Fabiano, and of course the podium is completed by Magnus Carlsen with 11.5 points. So definitely we're having a very tight race. Let's go on a short break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Grand Chess Tour Prague. Actually, you're coming directly from Uzbekistan, from the tournament you just recently won, and our huge congratulations on this.
Thank you.
It seems like this year is really great for you. You won Westin Zagreb first, and then Romanian Grand Chess Tour event, and then also Uzbekistan tournament. So, do you feel like you found the secret how to win these events?
No, I don't think so. It's just that playing good chess with good mindset and trying to fight for the top spot, and it's going my way in those critical moments.
Your tiebreak performances were really incredible this year. Can you say that you kind of like to play them?
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, these tiebreak games, they can go either way. We're playing a lot with like few seconds on the clock, and as I said, like it can go any ways. And yeah, some moments I was definitely lucky, but also I guess there is some skill involved in that as well. So I wouldn't really say I'm like great at tiebreaks. I would much rather want to win tournaments straight outright. Yeah, so.
Yeah, you're playing so many events. The schedule is really busy. So, what is about your energy level before Zagreb event?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. Like I had a few days rest before Zagreb. I was here 2-3 days back. But in general, yeah, when you play a lot of these tournaments, and also they are important ones and tiring ones as well. The energy levels you do have to manage, and I think so far I'm doing a decent job of it. During Tashkent, I was at some point I was feeling down on energy, but then I decided to cut down on prep and try to save my energy. I think that did work a bit, so I'll probably try to do the same, just less prep and try to rest and give my best on the board.
After this tournament in Uzbekistan, you actually climbed to the 4th position in FIDE rankings and became #1 player in India. What is more important for you?
Yeah, I don't think many things change. I'm still the same person trying to play tournaments, and also these 1 or 2 points doesn't really matter when you are playing such strong events every tournament. That like it's all about one game. Yeah, like next game over place is going to change in some way. So I don't think that matters so much. And yeah, as I said, for me, I take one tournament at a time, and right now my focus is on this tournament. And yeah, I'm hoping to give my best here.
Are you a little bit affected about, let's say, the media in India? Because I think it's still, they bring a lot of attention to the fact who is #1, who is #2, 3 in India, and like, are you affected a little bit?
No. I mean, at some point I was affected with all these like comments coming about, but I think now I'm like used to all these things, and I think I can handle them well.
What did you change maybe, or did you make any changes in your team last year that you think the results started to come your way?
Yeah, there were changes in my team, but yeah, they are giving me a lot of help and support, which is definitely showing on the board. But also, like, I think it's just not about chess. There's also like a lot about psychology, and which we worked on, and I think that is like the key to what is happening.
What do you think about the field this year in Zagreb, and whom are you looking forward to play against?
Yeah, field is extremely strong, and I mean, I haven't played a lot of Grand Chess Tour. This is my 2nd year, but so far all the wildcards are extremely strong, who are coming and taking our points. So, and we have Magnus this time, so I don't think that's a great thing. But yeah, I'm excited for the event. I want to give my best, because usually in Rapid Blitz events I haven't done like extremely well, but also like I've always done in like this middle finishes. I finished 3rd in Poland last year and this year as well. So yeah, and also for the Grand Chess Tour finals, it's extremely important. Every tournament you have to give your best and try to be on the top to qualify for the finals.
Whom are you looking forward to play against this time in this event?
Yeah, for sure Magnus. It's been some time since I played him over the board. Normal chess, I played him in freestyle in Paris, but yeah, normal chess, it's been like 1 year. Maybe my last game was in Norway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing.
Recently you played against like most of the top chess players. So whose style and play you admire the most?
Yeah, I think Magnus comes to mind at top. Yeah, everyone is different in their own way. Yeah, for example, Arjun is He's, as he has his name, yeah, madman. He just tries to get opponent's throat. So there are different styles, and Nordirbeck also like just keeps playing for win. Doesn't matter if he has worst position or winning position, just tries to win every time. Yeah, I mean, I try to take good things from all the top players and try to take inspirations from them.
Thank you so much, Prag, for joining us, and all the best of luck for you in the tournament.
Yeah, thank you.
When you come to Croatia, you have to bring your compass with you.
You have to visit our national parks.
You have to climb the highest peaks.
And ride the wildest winds.
You will never walk alone on these hiking trails.
You have to raft here.
Fly there.
Cycle everywhere.
You have to come to Croatia.
Croatia, full of adventures, full of life.
10 years, one legacy. The Grand Chess Tour marks a decade of mastery where only the strongest chess minds carve their names into history. Each piece has its role, like soldiers in a grand army, with commanders to lead them into the tour's 10th year and a prize fund of $1.6 million. The Grand Chess Tour starts in Warsaw with the Superbet Rapid Blitz Poland, immediately followed by the Superbet Chess Classic Romania in Bucharest, then off to Zagreb for the SuperUnited Rapid Blitz Croatia, followed by back-to-back events in St. Louis, Missouri with the St. Louis Rapid Blitz and the Sinkfield Cup. And the culmination of the grand finale in the city of Sao Paulo, Brazil, will determine the 2025 Grand Chess Tour champion. Fight with every ounce of strength for victory. This isn't just a moment. This is history.
When you come to Croatia, you have to bring your appetite with you.
And you have to taste our food.
You have to try the world's most awarded cheese.
And enjoy wine tasting in any of our wineries.
You have to surprise your taste buds with truffles.
You have to eat here.
Drink there.
Enjoy everywhere.
You have to come to Croatia.
Croatia, full of flavors, full of life.
Welcome back, everyone. What an exciting round one we had in the Blitz. Let's take a look at the updated standings.
And the round two as well.
Round two, yes. So Gukash lost again now, and Duda won. So catching up with the leader, Gukash with 14 still, Duda with 12. Magnus won his game. He's with 11.5. But Fabi lost, so he falls behind. And Prag now in clear fourth.
Exactly. Pairings for this round three coming up. Nasi?
Let's have a look. We have, I think, some leaders playing each other. We have Gukash against Duda, first and second.
There it is.
Wesley against Nordirbeck, also Fabi against Magnus.
Fantastic.
Which game do we watch?
I guess it's number one versus number two, Gukash. But if for those of you who want to see a Fabi Magnus game, I understand that as well.
Alireza's facing Ivan Saric and Anish against Prag.
And through the magic of a television, we just want to replay the Magnus Carlsen game against Perugia.
The finale. It was absolutely equal right before this, and then all of a sudden Magnus got both of his major pieces on the last rank and started taking up all the pawns on the king's side and winning the game. Oh, he dropped the piece. Yeah, this was just a huge blunder from Alireza when he took the bishop on e3.
For those of you watching, very, very sportive that Magnus did not press the clock when his piece was prostrate on the board, but rather adjusted it, and there was a handshake. Very important victory for Magnus over Alireza. And Alireza knight takes e3. Woo.
We had a costume change.
Well, thank you very much. It's a warm day here in St. Louis, and Miro and I looked at each other and said, "You look great in polo shirts."
Oh, well, thank you, yes. Likewise.
Thank you. I was waiting for the return. All right, here we go as we get ready for this round three. And I made an executive decision over Gukesh. Jan, were you happy with my choice there?
Sure.
You didn't.
And if we get some boring opening, then we can switch to Fabi
I felt the jab. I felt the poke. There we go. Yeah, we got Gukesh. It's funny. Seriously, on our break, you said to me, I feel sorry for Gukesh. He lost the... I said, wait a minute. The guy came in with one of the greatest results in rapid effort, and then suddenly you felt bad for him because, he got upset in the first 2 rounds?
Yeah, and it's mostly because of the first round.
He should have drawn that
yes.
against Wesley.
All right, we have another knight f3, the ready opening.
G3 and...
Bishop g2, e6.
Again, I always call this the Barksa, the double fianchetto, and then you're very flexible as white in the center. You either play c4, d4, or sometimes you even play for e4, d3, knight, d2, and e4. So, okay.
I'm keeping my eye on Fabi and Magnus. There's a very surprising opening. If you don't mind.
Okay, I knew it was coming. I felt
switch.
the poke early. I'm going to go to the game between Fabi and Magnus. Apologies. But it's the 4 pawns attack to the double fianchetto. Bishop on g7, a perk.
I saw 4 pawns on the 4th rank, and we have to go to that one.
Okay, this is very... when Magnus goes a little bit in tilt mode, tends to reach for the perk. He does some strange...
I don't think he's in tilt mode, though. He just won his game. He just really wants to win again. I think it's because Fabi just lost a very difficult game.
So he wants to keep the pressure.
Exactly. He wants to just make it difficult for Fabi to bounce back.
Okay.
And what did they do in Rapid? Did Magnus beat Fabi? Yes, he beat Fabi. So yeah, that's why he chose this opening. You're a pure player.
Yes. With this very, very big center, and also with the flank as well, oftentimes it's about this knight. And you're not happy when the knight comes to f6 because it tends to put pressure on the e-pawn. If I'm in white shoes, I'm trying to make the life of this knight a little bit ugly in the sense that
looks good.
It has to go to e7, which means you have to play e6.
Yes, and that takes too much time, right?
Exactly.
I was also thinking about f4. That looks fantastic, but Fabi chose knight e2.
Knight e2. Okay, this is absolutely encouraging now. Knight, sorry, that's supposed to be knight f6. Absolutely encouraging knight
then
f6.
After g5, you trade and
I will go
you go to g4. Yes.
Unless I get my knight trapped, which could easily happen.
It
but
could happen. We do have knight f6. We'll see.
If I could provoke f3, then it's a whole different story because I can go knight d7, c5, or even e5.
Yeah.
Okay, things. No, I was about to say things are. We're going to get calm. No, I was going to go to Gukesh a moment, but I stopped myself.
No, because I think Magnus just made a bad move, so we should stay here.
d4, knight to d5.
Is that why it's so bad?
Or is it simply knight?
Yeah, I think knight d5 looks. Knight d5. If I take, then white has way too much space.
And we've.
G5.
This I don't like. Now I feel good. I feel good. Wait a minute. I want to take with the e pawn, and then I feel I've got actually a very decent.
Do you want to include
safety.
h takes g and trade the rooks as well?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely undecided. But yeah, I can. Hold on. I can take on b2. Right. So he did include hg, and Magnus could take on b2. Oh, you take on g7. Sorry,
yeah,
that's a queen.
Yeah.
That's a
but
queen.
it's very surprising Fabi didn't go knight d5. It looked like such a beautiful
natural move.
Yeah, and easy to play.
We're kind of seeing an effects of allowing
we can't guess any moves.
Right.
No b takes c3.
If you had played g5 and the knight had been on g8, it's a completely different story. By the way, he didn't take on c3 and recapture on f6.
Now Fabi
Very
has a chance
surprising.
to go knight d5 again.
Knight d5, tickling the pawn.
Tickling.
I don't see what.
Why are they both ignoring knight d5?
Central pieces, centralize your pieces. Okay, in favor of knight a4.
No, I like the
I do
c5
have
move.
a3.
Knight c6. This is what black wants in the modern.
Okay, but hold on. So if I start with a3
Knight c6.
and you go knight c6, I will then go d5.
Knight e5.
And then I will take this pawn on.
Okay, I'll take back. Nothing's hanging.
Yeah, but I'll be so happy that my knight. I'll then play bishop to d4.
And we're not going to switch, but just an update to our audience. Gukesh is much worse again.
Much worse. He could start with 3 losses. Ooh, that would be a brutal start. c5 on the board. I'm expecting a3 clock times, if you don't mind, Nessie.
Over 2
Even-ish?
minutes for both of them.
Nobody's seriously
Should
behind.
we check Gukesh? Because this is a very long game, right?
Sure. We're going to switch back, our apologies, to the game of Gukesh and Duda.
Duda's about to become a sole leader, first time in this event, if he converts this game.
He's just played, if you don't mind, just going to see the last few moves. So right now,
Or no, he will catch Gukesh.
he's a piece up. At the moment, he's just a piece up. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wait, what? It's a full piece?
A full piece. Black has 1 knight less.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Me too. I was like, why does the board look weird? And the problem is this. So the knight moves, presumably knight a4. The knight moves, presumably knight c6. Queen d7 or queen e8. And
yeah, knight
what?
e7.
Okay.
Giving up
I thought
c6.
knight a4. That's just a piece for a pawn. And by the
Yeah,
way,
but the c4 is still hanging, yes.
Can I play bishop takes c4 immediately?
Yeah, why not? Wait, queen c4?
Pawn
a8 won't be hanging, you will take with that rook. Yes.
Exactly. Bishop takes c4 looks like a stone cold winner. Nothing to be
queen
said.
e8. You're still down a piece.
Exactly.
And c4, you can't defend even after this trade on e7.
Yeah.
So this goes for bishop c4 and...
I think it's the most direct, maybe not the most exact, but definitely direct. Knight takes d8, bishop takes e2, knight back to c6. You don't have to take the rook. You can move the
Gukesh decided not to trade queens. Rook
But
c1.
now bishop a3. There's an old principle that's been used for thousands of years. Went ahead material, trade. Knight
All
b6,
Duda
another
needs is
good
just
move.
a couple of moves to get his pieces out of this
Little
awkward
cramp.
position, and that's about it. Then we'll
That
see
was a
resignation.
very, very strong move. I like this move.
full
Knight
piece.
b6 a lot. Yeah, and just quickly rook to b8.
Yeah, don't blunder bishop before. I'm sure black is still winning after that, but let's not give any material back.
I like it.
Queen.
Yeah.
D7?
This is over. Sorry,
It's
I'm going to
over,
call
right?
this. This is a piece for a pawn.
Do you think
I mean,
Gukesh will keep playing?
not for too much longer, unless Duda just plays a lot of good moves for the next 10 moves. He's got this. I'm going to go back, if you don't mind, to the match up between Fabi and Magnus, because when we left it, the game was so very interesting and complex. A3, as expected, no knight c6, an immediate capture by Magnus, and I had given up on this variation because I saw queen h8, and I didn't think black wanted to play that. He didn't play queen h8.
No chip.
Wow.
I don't think queen d2 was a good move.
Wow.
Queen h8, it's hard to stop yourself from playing that move.
Yeah, I mean, every instinct.
And now, after e5, I like Magnus' position. He looks much better. Bishop a6, nice.
The position is flipped and flopped. For a moment there, my whole
And Duda did beat Gukesh.
Taking the lead.
Or catching up. We'll see in the standings afterwards.
The reason why I really liked A3 a while ago is I was rescuing the knight with is stranded. Somehow, Magnus has managed to connive a possibility of a bishop b5 when the knight is left high and dry. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Knight d4.
Something I don't like about
now
this.
Now we take on a3.
Bishop b5?
Oh, is the knight trapped?
That's my worry, that bishop b5 may just trap the knight. What am I missing?
Some tactics.
Missing something.
Bishop b5.
Knight c5, queen b6.
Oh yeah, knight c5 is an option.
Knight c5, queen b6.
Can I go to b3?
Yes.
No, I can go rook d5. Rook d5 there.
Okay, same idea. Magnus is trying to leave the knight stranded. Clock times, if you don't mind, Nazi.
12 seconds for Fabi.
12. Okay. Okay, that happened fast.
And 50 for Magnus.
Queen f6. Oh my goodness. Queen
rook
f6. There's a.
This looks so much.
Careful, there's a skewer. Rook c8.
Yeah. I'm defending the
mate
skewer
in one.
and threatening mate. Yes. C3. Oof.
Okay, now are we about to witness bishop b5?
Or just taking on a3 looks so good. Let's weaken the king side completely. He's done it. I like bishop b5 now, and then how do you protect c3? That's it.
That's a good point. Bishop b5 looks awfully good. Rook takes d6 will threaten the knight, though. That can maybe be my source of.
Oh, knight d7. This is a nice inclusion of this move. And now bishop b5. Yeah.
And like you said, c3. By the way, this bishop is terrible.
Yes.
Terrible.
That bishop has been
I'm looking
not
at
participating
rook h.
at all.
Yeah. By the way, if you play bishop
he's
g2.
winning that piece.
Rook c2.
That's it. Knight d7, bishop takes. Okay, king e7.
By the way, I was thinking
it's equal
that
material, but black is completely winning this endgame.
True.
And 7 seconds for Fabi.
Yeah, but the rook at king e7, and the rook is coming to either e3 or g3.
This will be second win in a row for Magnus and second loss in a row for Fabi.
That hurts.
Yeah.
I would probably play bishop check and followed by a4. He played. That was weird.
Yeah, this is just.
Why didn't he play? Okay, still winning, but
yeah.
Maybe a little
Technical
bit.
Conversion now. 2 extra pawns, right? Rook he just made a move with 1 second.
Yeah, but it's a tricky move. Rook e5.
Oh, bishop f7.
Bishop
right?
f7.
Nice trick.
Oh. And a skewer. Where would you like us to go? What's remaining? Wesley versus Nöterbek?
Anish Prague we have on the screen. Let's see what's happening here.
Anish Prague, I found you.
It's a rook
ending.
Yeah, looks like a draw.
3 versus 3. Should be a draw.
But with 2 seconds, anything can happen.
Who's got the 2 seconds?
Both of them have 2 seconds.
Both have the 2 seconds.
Either could blunder.
Easily. H3.
We know Prague is one of those players who does not like to take a draw, no matter how drawn the position is.
Right.
He likes to keep fighting. Rook c4.
Well, king takes g4.
Ooh. Okay, now it'll be a draw. Yes.
I like how the momentum of the
We're
players.
going to see the stalemate. There we go. 1 game left.
Let's
Wesley.
jump to Wesley.
And he's an exchange up. And now looks like he's winning. Earlier it looked like a draw. Wesley, yeah, completely winning.
Why is he completely winning?
I just said the eval part. Say like +4.
+4 even. Wow. Okay,
Doesn't look easy though. I guess we take on g6 and some point play f5 and we win the d3 pawn. That's not how players are playing.
Well, for a moment there, I was wondering why Nöterbek couldn't take on b4 and take on h5.
Right?
I'm confused.
There's a moment, yeah. Can he?
Okay, Wesley is now threatening rook f6 check. I get it. That's a big threat. That rook f6 check should win.
Oh, it's just yeah, he just won the pawn.
Right. Funny he didn't do it with rook f6. But Wesley's not about to allow bishop c5 check.
Yeah, and Nordirbeck is running out of moves and 2 1-second in flags. And Wesley wins.
Wow. Okay.
I think that's it. All the games have finished.
I'm still trying to catch up on the standings there, just in what happened. It just happened so very, very quickly. Miro, I'm going to throw it to you as you can bring us up to date on the action.
Well, first and foremost, absolutely strange game. I do not have a better word from Gukesh. It all started with a bit of a confusion, I want to say, in the opening. So this d4 move, which leads you kind of to a normal structure. That's how you would set up the pawns, but not with black bishop being already on a6, not with the queen being on e2. So d2, d3 would be much more normal for this particular structure. Right, and then after d4, a4, very clever move from Duda, knight takes b5, but there was still no need to panic entirely or go all in. Knight c3, you are worse, but you're still fighting. Knight c5, knight c5, knight e5, to be perfectly honest, looks like he had some idea and just, how we say, glitched. Because, yeah, when you guys in the studio, when you switched to this position and you started to discuss it, and it even took you some time to realize that black is a knight up.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's, yeah, seriously unexplicable mistake by Gukesh, and he's on 0-3.
Wow.
That's not the best start.
Nope.
And then I wanted to show, well, the moment the technology allows me, I wanted to show this one, Wesley with Nordirbeck. It's impossible to analyze, of course, a blitz game of how many, 90 moves long or whatever, but there were a couple of very, very key moments. And particularly, let me find, there was a
particularly
moment.
on move 4.
Yeah, no, not on move 4, but there was a moment when Nordirbeck could have gotten a better position. Yeah. So over here, for instance, yeah, it was a ready opening, well, the b pawn exchange for the c pawn. So it's a very, very strange setup. c2 is the backward pawn, b7 is the backward pawn. Black has the bishop on h7, which is, well, not active for now, but the moment you try to move white's structure, immediately this bishop is very annoying. White's bishops are also not very great. And then rook a1 to a2, and the computer says rook b2 to a2 was the better move. And in fact, white is slightly better because eventually the queen is going to get evicted with bishop d4. Instead, the other rook went to b2, to a2 pawn, and there was a move, bishop takes a3. The explanation why it wasn't played, because it looks like bishop d4 wins the queen, but if you could spend some time on the resulting position, you would understand that this rook is completely locked out of the game, and black is just so much better here. Then after b6, and honestly, it went back and forth so many times, and then I think the endgame you were looking at, right before this h4, h5 happened, black still had over here, yeah, wouldn't he play bishop c1, but bishop to e7, stopping h4, stopping this idea. Computer still favors white, but I can see it's very hard to win, to be honest. It might as well be a fortress. And then after h4 was allowed, Wesley's technique, all of a sudden, on 2 seconds increment, was pretty much spot on. So very well played at the end, but it was, of course, like back and forth a couple of times in this game.
Thank you, Miro. Let's take a look at the standing after 4 very fast rounds of blitz. It just happened very quickly.
We are trying to catch up.
3,
with the
sorry.
blitz. Okay, Duda still. I'm still thinking that they're getting 2 points for a win. That's why I was thinking that Duda caught Gukesh.
You're an influencer because I was convinced you were right.
So Gukesh is still in the lead, 1 point ahead. Duda now in second, and Magnus catching up with them, only half point behind Duda in clear third.
There was a 4-point gap at the start of today's play. Suddenly it's become a 1.5-point gap with our GOAT. We're going to throw it to Zagreb and Christian.
It's becoming a very tight race in that one at the top. And another game that I was having my eyes on is the one between Anish and Pragnananda. And Pragnananda, as you could see from the standings, he's picking up some steam as well.
He's my pick, so I'm really rooting for him.
You're very happy about that. Anish, at this point, obviously he has the space advantage on the queen side, and he played the move b5. This might have been an oversight, but it played in his favor as well, because knight takes c5, it just seems like you're losing a pawn. You've blundered the pawn. If you take on c5, then bishop takes b2. I have the two bishops. I have the extra pawn. Obviously, black is winning. But what he can do is play the move rook to c1, which he did, and now take advantage of the fact that this diagonal has opened up with this move bishop to a3. There's no more castling short. There's definitely no long castling, because with the c-file open, you would get absolutely massacred on that side. So you have to find a way to get your king to safety. And he did with this move, bishop to f8, queen takes a3, the queen replaces the bishop on that diagonal. So now still the king needs to find a way out, right? And they got to this position. Plenty of compensation, by the way, for the pawn, perhaps even a better position for white. In fact, at this point, after a6, take on c6, take on c6, what he had to do, and it seems like objectively he had a winning position after rook takes c6. Take, and we have this imbalance in the position, the queen versus the two rooks. The problem is the queen has a lot of targets, especially related to the weakness of the black king. If this pawn would be on g7, it would be much better for black, but it's not, and this would have been not an easy win. I'm not going to call it an easy win.
Still quite difficult to understand, right?
But a much better position for white. And he did not play this. He played a move queen to b3, queen to c2, and we got to this position very wild. Obviously, the black king is still very unsafe, but it does seem like this exchange of the queens and the transition into the endgame played into Prague's favor. Anastasia, I think you were watching the Alireza versus Saric game.
Yes, Alireza managed to come back after this unfortunate loss against Magnus Carlsen. And actually, if I would describe this game, I think it was a little bit of a tragedy here, because Saric had quite good position. Look at this. I mean, balanced position. Yes, of course, Alireza has two bishops and some hopes in the ending. But, you know, you don't need to play move knight b6 after bishop f3. He wanted to defend a pawn and choose the wrong square for the knight. I believe that after knight f6, position would be just normal. I don't know, maybe he was afraid of bishop g5, but you just move your queen, let's say, away from this diagonal, and you should be looking really fine.
I think this is what he was worried about.
I think so, but still, d5 was actually protected indirectly. Like if you take here, for example, bishop d5, you always have this nice trick with bishop g3, right? Absolutely. So perhaps he didn't see all this, and he played knight b6, and I would say that after that, Alireza played just fantastic game, using the fact that this knight is really on the wrong place. So he later just improved his pieces, his pawns, and found a nice way to get rid of the knight and simply win this d5 pawn. And you know that it's just huge. If you lose a central pawn, your position cannot be good after that, obviously. And he never gave any chances to Ivan Saric to come back in this game, and definitely just, I mean, crushed him.
Good bounce back for Alireza after losing against Magnus. And guess what? We have Magnus versus Gukesh in the next round, and we have a very special guest that will be here with us in the studio helping us with the assignment of doing commentary on that one. So don't miss it, grab your popcorn, and we will be back very soon from Zagreb, Croatia.
Good advice, Christian. Popcorn.
We're missing some popcorn, yeah.
Standings. Let's do it.
Let's update our viewers again. Gukesh is in first place with 14 points, but Duda and Magnus are only point and a half behind him. So this is getting critical.
Tell us about the pairings coming up for round 4.
And this is why we were suggesting the audience gets popcorn. It's Magnus versus Gukesh in the next round.
Greatest show on chess.
Absolutely. And I mean, all eyes will be on that game. We're not going to switch.
No, we're not going to switch. And
let's take a look at the current standings in the overall GCT. Maxim Vachier-Lagrave is in the first place with 20 points, Prague in second, and Alireza in third. And some of these players are here in Croatia playing right now, but MVL and Livon are missing.
Exactly, and it's those GCT points in the middle of that graph that you want to keep a careful eye on, because it's the top 4 finishers that make the playoffs. Miro, grudge match coming up?
Yeah, well, and of course, like, it's important for Gukesh, it's important for Magnus, but one Jan Krzysztof Duda will be looking at this match as well. He finds himself in between these two players. Right. He's 1 point away from Gukesh. So if Magnus beats Gukesh, there is a theoretical chance to catch Gukesh, but there is a chance to be caught by Magnus, who is half a point behind Duda before this round. So that's a really pivotal moment for all of them.
Gary described Gukesh's victory as a changing of an era. The Magnus domination is over. Magnus doesn't feel that way, not one little bit, does he?
Yeah, well, I guess Gary would know better, but to me it would be if Gukesh beats Magnus in a classical match. That I would safely say that it's a change of an era.
But I kind of agree with Gary. He didn't necessarily say that it's over. He said it's the beginning of the Gukesh domination, and it's hard to disagree with that.
Well, except I'll disagree with that. I mean, Magnus remains the world's #1. You can see what he's doing in this Blitz event. He's coming in and he's smashing players left and right. And this round 4 is a perfect setup. I mean, I understand they're going to play each other twice, of course. Colors reverse tomorrow. But this is what it's all about right here.
Yeah, by tomorrow, someone can be running away with the tournament.
Right.
So right now, when they're so close with points, it's absolutely crucial round.
And if you look there, 12.5 points for Magnus. He's trailing by 1.5 points. A victory in this game means that he will only be trailing by 0.5 point, and he started the tournament, he started today 4 points behind, and he'll almost have caught up. So a big game.
Yeah,
and for Gukesh, imagine if he were to win. Gary would be like thumping his chest. I told you.
Look at it. Like, we were talking, can somebody catch up? Discover his 4 points in 18 rounds. He's almost done it in 4 rounds.
Right. Pretty remarkable.
That's absolutely...
And then you were saying about Duda, he's up against Wesley. So, what just happened with Wesley? He just had some really flip-flop results.
All decisive games today, I feel like.
Yeah. And he blunders against Prague, one move.
Yeah, one move hanging a knight, then, well, relatively nice play against Nordibek. So Wesley is doing the Wesley thing, except he shouldn't blunder.
Well, I thought the Wesley thing was like drawing 2 games, winning a game, drawing 2 games, winning a game. Yeah, but it's very, very impressive and by Magnus to lower the gap. But Duda also standing out in my mind. He's very, very deserving player in the second place.
Players are tired. They're not.
They're so tired.
They're taking their time to rest, even though there's only 2 minutes before the round begins. Nobody's there.
And here, let's just look at this for a second, because Ivan Saric, he had a very, I want to say, solid result in the Rapid, but I haven't followed all of his results in the Blitz so far. I see he just lost. Anish Giri at 19, Ali Reza.
I think Nordibek only won 1 game, and he defeated the world champion, Gukesh. So that still feels good, even though you're having a terrible tournament. It feels good, of course, to defeat the leader.
Exactly. So help me. Fabi came into today 5 points behind? 5.
Yes.
And Ali Reza 6.
Yes.
So Ali Reza's closing the gap as well to 5 points. Is that Gukesh taking?
Yes. Ali Reza's at his board, and Gukesh just walked in.
Yeah.
Now, the toughest part for Gukesh is just forgetting about the first 3 rounds.
Exactly. Each day is a different. Each game is a different universe. The previous universes never happened. Don't pay attention, but it's almost impossible to detach.
Yeah, sometimes the chess players need short-term memory loss.
Yes, never happened. By the way, again, for me, I really admire what Gukesh is doing. He comes to the playing hall early. He kind of gets into this game zone, play Zen mode, make sure that his pieces are all properly set up, and make sure he's ahead on the clock.
Yeah, but the last 2 games with White were not very impressive. This very strange opening against Wesley.
One thing that's really hard is to adjust to the time change. You're used to the 10-second increment, and then all of a sudden you realize 2 seconds doesn't give you any time. And we saw him lose because of, like, once he goes down to 5 seconds, then he makes big mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I also, I'm sorry to throw this out to the Grand Chess Tour organizers, but I never play this time control. No, seriously. I do not play 5+2. I play 3 and 2. I play 3-0. I play 5-0. But I never play 5+2. And I don't think any of these players, whether it be Title Tuesday or otherwise, ever play 5+2 except
that's
on the Grand Chess Tour.
That's a unique time control exclusive for Grand Chess Tour.
Yeah, but we say it's Blitz. And Blitz has always been 5 minutes or less, meaning 3+.
It's a long Blitz.
It's a long
There is
Blitz.
Magnus coming in.
Hey man, slap me, but I swear those look like jeans.
I think half of them are wearing jeans. I think they've loosened the rules a little bit.
A little bit?
Dress code. All right, I have a good feeling, guys. What do you think? I think Gukesh will not lose this one.
I hear a mighty cheer from the Indian fans there. No, I think Magnus is motivated as he's ever been.
Yeah, but so is Gukesh.
And he's thinking, you know, it's victory or bust. I think he's going to go all out here.
I mean, from tournament standings point of view, a draw is still fine for Magnus. He can still catch up with Gukesh later. There's still so many games.
Sure.
So he doesn't have to go all in and take too many risks.
No. But he will.
But he will.
With all the psychological aspects in play, I'll go and say that who plays better wins this game.
Oh,
controversial take, I know.
Knight c3. Now that's a little bit of a twist. We're so used to seeing bishop takes c6 that.
Yeah, this is already a sideline for sure.
Yeah, committing the knight to c3 so early is a bit of a twist. Normally with the knight on b1, you could imagine in such a structure, the knight would find better pasture.
Yeah, I was thinking,
c4.
where would the knight go now from c3? e2 and then f5? g3, f5? Is that the idea?
I suppose so. But it does look a little bit peculiar to commit the knight in this iteration.
Yeah, I'm checking the database. This is already a new position. 0 games in this position.
Yeah, it feels, well, wrong, I think is strong, but...
I mean, if knight wasn't on c3, we would have hundreds of games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a bit of an awkward pin here on this bishop. Whoa.
Okay, trade.
Did not see this coming.
I think Gukesh wants to trade everything. Maybe knight d7 is coming next move.
Okay.
Or will you take on f6 yourself now and play knight versus bishop?
I would.
Yes, that's what Magnus
just
has
because
done.
we need this imbalance. This knight, again, is not on a good square. It needs to reroute itself. At the same time, you're trying to limit the ability of this bishop. On a great day, your dream is to play h5 and put a knight on f5.
I think Magnus is going to play g4 now.
Let's pause our analysis and toss it to Zagreb, where Christian is with Gary Kasparov.
Plays that long castle.
Thank you, Yasser. It's the same time of the day, right? This game between Magnus versus Gukesh, we had a lot of fun in the Rapid. Yep. Now let's have a lot of fun in the Blitz as well. Your expectations, you see Gukesh is struggling at the beginning. Magnus seems to be picking up steam at the same time. Yep. Your expectations about this game, Gary?
It's a very important game psychologically. So, because as you said, you know, Gukesh had a very poor start. Magnus had a very decent start. And if Magnus manages to win the game, that will be a big boost for him. And the opposite. And it's will not work nicely for Gukesh. And if Gukesh can break this unfortunate series, so I hope if it happens, you know, Magnus will not blame me for bringing good luck for Gukesh, but it doesn't look good to Gukesh now.
It's one of those positions.
It's now doesn't look good because Bishop d4 was a bad move, and it seems that Magnus has a very easy game now because, you know, look, Bishop on b6 is doing nothing. So yeah, okay, it's he has to find a way. It's knight g3, okay, king g7, and then probably
knight to g3.
Yes,
okay.
If knight goes on g3, yes, f5 is no go, but now its position is still solid because it's after king g7. I think Gukesh should play bishop c5. Queen c5. I didn't like queen. I would suggest bishop c5, and because again but now just earlier. I think this is here you have to play bishop c5 because bishop on b6 is doing absolutely nothing. Here with on c5, it's basically you can put bishop on e7, and then after h5, bishop goes on g5. Yes, this is a great square. So this you have to. I mean, in theory you can put a queen here, but I think the bishop on e7 would be better protection. Yes. And then you can start pushing pawns in and center. A5, b5, a4. So it's more difficult for white to make any progress because bishop could come back
with a bishop.
With a bishop coming back, yes. Because I don't know bishop on b6. It's still probably okay because I mean it's definitely Gukesh has a plan of just look at the game to attack f2. I mean he wants to be more aggressive. I don't know. With
rook f6 perhaps at some point.
Rook f6, and you play f3.
So obviously g5 would be terrible right now. You cannot move that g6 pawn.
Now you have the rook. You see, this is rook h8. Queen g5 is end game. It's just I don't know the same game as
against Magnus.
It's not. Yeah, you see, bishop. With bishop on e7, h5 would not be an option because then bishop comes on g5. It's always protected. Yeah. Here you have a problem. So you just have to find a way to defend.
And if you go rook h8, maybe now I can focus my idea to go f4 and look at the pawn on f7.
Yeah, also possible. Yes. So this is
See, did he make a move?
Did he play queen g5?
Just played queen g5. Yes.
Then rook. But now black is very passive. So rook, he takes the rook away from a1. So just it's somewhere just to make sure that the bishop. Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see where he put it. Yeah. No, knight to f1 he played.
Knight to f1.
Yes.
Yeah. What about f5? What about f5 now?
f5.
What about f5?
What
about f5?
That's a good move. That is a good move.
This is how it's. What do you do? f5. This is his best chance now. I think that's it.
I think he wants to take and knight g3 back.
No, but I take on e4.
Knight takes e4.
No. Just it's the. Yeah, you want to take this one.
Yes.
Maybe
this is his plan.
This is true. Yes. And this is the. It's still very unpleasant.
But I'm seeing a huge difference on the clock, Gary. A minute 45 for Gukesh.
And we know that Magnus started by giving him a kind of handicap for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Also, I think psychologically. Maybe rook f6, rook f6, then f3, yes? Then f3, that's no.
Let's see, he played a move. Rook f6, f3. Yes.
F3, yes. Now back on d6, maybe bishop d4 first, bishop d4. I would probably start with bishop, but bishop with knight d2. He wants knight on c4, yes. He wants.
And if you
take and bishop c3, yes. No, that's the. So you have to start with maybe rook b1 or rook a2. I don't know, rook b1 probably.
Yes.
But rook b1 maybe you can play b5 at least. At least just try to.
He placed his rook on f4. He's still trying to go for that f5. Take knight to d2 or rook to h3. It feels like Magnus is slowly getting what he wants. Knight d2, rook h1 is a big threat.
It's bad.
It's bad.
It's very bad because e5 was weak, a5 was weak. I mean, everything is weak. So this is Magnus. This is his. And again, this is going back. This. It's all started with this problem. With queen a7. So yes. This is again. You see bishop on b6. Yeah, it had an illusion of attacking the pawn on f2, but it just happened to be just an illusion.
Yes.
Just an illusion.
I think that was the good spot when you mentioned here.
Actually, I'm still insisting that f5 was the best chance.
Even after 92, bishop c5, you could have played bishop c5 first.
No. Yeah, anyway, but bishop b6. But key here, you had to put bishop on e7. But even in the game, you see that's f5 was the best chance here.
f5 here.
Still, I agree with you that this. It's terrible, but at least it's just.
You get something.
Yeah, rook comes on f4, so that's it. I don't know. Just maybe there's a chance. It's a terrible position. Yes.
What about what we have right now?
Right now is just.
The bar is saying absolutely completely winning. What's the plan? Where's the plan?
What was?
Can I take that? Probably not.
He doesn't have to. He can play b3. I mean, maybe see what. He doesn't have to take. He doesn't have to take
E3.
No, because it's checkers. You can just move the king first.
Yes.
No, but you can move the king because he wants to go c4 check, but you don't have to.
Yes. What's Gukesh's plan right now?
No, his plan is wait. His plan is
wait.
there's no plan. His plan is wait.
He took on a5. It's a bit surprising.
But it's still winning, actually. He took on e5, and maybe it's not a bad idea.
Rook to d6.
King.
King goes up.
King goes
or
e2. I think e2. Yes, e2 is the
e2, and you go here, and then we king goes up. Okay, he decides to go to c4.
That's also good. Yes, actually, it's the best moves Magnus playing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Rook a6. Maybe I can take
Knight
that.
takes b7. Yes, knight takes b7. King d5. King b. Yes, king. Rook a4 check.
20 seconds right now for Gukesh against 2 minutes.
Before, yes, so that doesn't matter.
Oh,
time is irrelevant here. Yep, time is irrelevant. Yep, Magnus. Yep.
He takes his revenge.
Something terrible, yes.
Yes.
Something terrible.
Rook to d1. Get rook to d7 or rook to d3 to defend that pawn on f3. Oh, this is hopeless.
Bishop d4, c4.
Rook d3, looking at c3 perhaps.
Yeah.
And knight a5, knight c4, bring the knight back perhaps.
Winning the rook.
Let's see, rook to d7.
Bishop e1. Should I know? Knight c5 then.
And we see resignation. Magnus wins the game, and right now he's only half a point behind Gukesh.
Yeah, but it's something is wrong with Gukesh. So I think he played very. I mean, yesterday was already. Was not a great day. So this is the way his game was very feeble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he beat Saw, but Saw played so poorly. But the game was geary. I mean, it was already just a sign of, for me, it was a sign of trouble.
Yes.
Because it's he had a very, at one point he had a very promising position. So it was, and the final position he was nearly lost. So
let's take a look at Jan Krzysztof Duda, who with a win would actually catch up with the leader Gukesh against Wesley So. Let's see what's happening in that one. Seems close to equal right now, but Duda only has 3 seconds on his clock. He made his last move with 1 second. Playing with fire a little bit.
Yeah, but it's he has a bishop, so bishop can go on g5. Pawn goes pawn goes on h4. The idea is keeping bishop g5, pawn on h4, and then
target the pawn on
bishop b3. He played.
If anybody, who has
rook
chances to win this one?
Rook h6.
Is it white with the bishop, or is it black with the connected passers, potentially?
So h4, rook h7 check, now bishop g5.
Knight f5.
Rook h7 check, bishop g5.
He's going for it.
But take and pawn's coming. But bishop is a bishop. And pawn h5, it should be a draw, I mean, it's objectively, but it's, I don't know how, how you can just...
yeah, your feeling is quite immaculate. It does seem like white has a slight advantage right now.
Yeah, because it's bishop. That's what I learned. Yeah, so it's the h7 and rook f8. H7 and rook f8. H7 you could have played. King g7, rook f8, win the piece.
Yeah,
he just
missed
h6. He can miss the chance. Yes.
This is going to be a draw.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, that's a draw. Rook takes h3.
Yes,
draw. So what's happened in other games? Just very quickly.
Firouzja has won his game against Anish, and then let's take a look at Fabiano with the black pieces, trying to win his game against Anish, against Ivan Šarić.
Not even trying. He has two extra pieces.
That's right.
He's no longer trying. he's winning. Yes.
That is a lot indeed.
Yes.
Šarić is still hoping for some sort of an attack. Queen to d5.
King c7. Oh, wait.
Okay, 6, king c7.
That's enough.
He's going to...
No.
He's not even taking the pawn on h7 because of the check. Yes, this seems to be...
No.
Let's see the resignation, if it comes.
Who else?
I think this is the last game.
But what's the?
We still have
we lost to
Pragnananda versus.
No.
Yes.
Firouzja won.
Firouzja did win his game.
Yes. Yes.
Prague Nodirbek just made a draw, and this one is the last one.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see the finishing touches from Fabiano. We're only 4 rounds in the Blitz. Gukesh still leading, but only half a point ahead of Duda and Magnus. Your prediction, Gary. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think is going to win it all?
I think Magnus is a favorite.
Favorite already,
favorite
right now.
Look, he definitely recovered after this disaster, and I mean, statistically, so what do you expect? So it's the Magnus is just within just one game behind the leader. Leader.
Gukesh is still the leader.
Yeah, okay, but and so it's still long distance, only 4. So we have 5 now, 14 rounds to go. 14 rounds to go. I feel pity because again, Gukesh played such a great rapid tournament.
Portion,
yes, rapid portion. But as I said, I think it's the game they played, which is a great game. That's we followed here in the studio 2 days ago, day before yesterday. Gukesh versus Magnus. I think the game had huge effect on Gukesh. I think psychologically, it's such a big win. Again, I thought his game was feeble yesterday. I think today, because it's very fast, and he's not probably ready for just to show his skills in Blitz. Mm-hmm. So I think he's still probably leading through this game. And in Blitz, it's every gram of your energy that is being wasted for something else just has very negative effect. And I mean, the games he lost today, some of them are, just terrible. So it's not. Yeah. Losing to Magnus, I understand, but it's anybody can lose the game. But even this game, we didn't see some tenacity. So
But it does seem like he's getting better in classical. Obviously, he's going to become better and better with time. In rapid as well, he has one more platform to cover, and that is the Blitz. And I'm sure we're going to see that.
No, exactly. Yeah. But it's still having just losing 4 games in a row. Painful. So yeah, it's somehow it's now resembles on the negative side his outstanding performance in rapid. So he won 5 in a row. I hope it will not be this is laws of physics. The impact and reflection.
How do you mentally recover from that, Gary?
I don't know.
What's your advice? If he's watching?
I don't know. I think he should now start just somehow just recover his composure, and there's also forget about the tournament. just start playing. I think it's probably just too much pressure. So yeah, I have to play well. I have to. Okay. Maybe next time. So he's still doing fine. He finds many great moves, but needs to somehow drop this luggage, which is not easy. I understand. So this is just losing all these games in a row, and it's this little time to recover. But he's just he's too young. So I wish you well, because we want to see just more competition. But there will be competition. How far is Firouzja?
We have an incredible race right now. Let's take a look.
How's Firouzja from
standings?
Because
right now.
Firouzja lost an important game to Magnus, which again was I think Magnus' big boost. He was not having good position. Magnus I think was.
Firouzja is quite far behind, 3 points behind Fabiano, 3 points behind Prague, 2.5, and then Jan Krzysztof Duda and Magnus only half a point behind Gukesh.
But Firouzja can win many games.
Yes.
We know.
Oh, yes.
No, the big game was Magnus Firouzja, but we'll see. So Magnus is clearly favorite now.
Gary, as always, a pleasure to have you in the studio and so insightful.
Yes.
Go follow the games.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Christian, indeed. And wow, we are seeing a resurgent Magnus. But tell us about are we saying pairings or standings?
Yeah, let's take a look at the standings.
Once more, it's just a half a point.
Gukesh still remains in the lead with 14 points, but Magnus and Duda are now only half point behind him. Other players still struggling to catch up.
4-point gap sure closed fast as Fabi and Alireza also, they're still lurking. Let's put it that way. Tell us about the pairings for round 5 coming up.
All right, let's have a look. We have Fabi against Anish, Wesley against Magnus. We will follow that game. Gukesh is playing Ivan Saric. Gukesh has a chance to bounce back now.
Yep.
Alireza is facing Duda, and
Alireza is facing Prague. Very impressive play by Alireza.
Supposed to be Fabi. We'll find out who.
Exactly. Well, what's our marquee matchup game?
We'll make a decision.
Magnus.
Miro.
All right. Tell us, Miro, where the action was.
Well, a lot of games were already covered, but there was Prague against Nordibek, which did not get all the attention, I guess. I'll try to compensate for that. Nordibek, by going d4, shutting down this bishop on b2. Well, I guess plays for advantage in this moment. And then, again, very strange move by Prague. And from what I see, this 800 players, when it comes to blitz, sometimes they do make, well, relatively simple mistakes. Because after b5, well, it's not like it was a plan to provoke a weakness, but he decided to go back to d2. Point being, knight e5, just straight, bishop goes to d6, the rook has to drop back, black captures, this bishop's bad, this bishop's not so bad, but yeah, like knight d5, all in all, terrible position for white. So guess what, after losing couple of tempi, black is better. The white lost couple of tempi, black is better, that is. Yeah. And we've gotten somewhere here where with knight d5, once again, Nordibek would have a dominant position. He didn't do so, and the game goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and somewhere over here, move 30, Nordibek finds himself completely winning. So he won this f4 pawn in the process. White gets sort of a compensation with a pair of bishops, but here, yeah, black wins. I guess queen a6 was a tricky move, then knight d4 attacking the bishop. However, after knight c to d4, lets the advantage slip till certain point. Well, there was one particular moment I wanted to stop. So bishop f4, knight f4. By the way, here already, after queen g4, white's almost equal. Bishop f4 here. Okay, over there, queen g3. Black's pawn up. Fantastic knight on f4. And I think for blitz, you just want to keep shuffling. And eventually white's going to make a mistake by himself. And black goes for what's called to be a very good move, a brilliant move, a combination, winning the queen, because after queen takes as a check. However, queen returns back, knight takes, pawn takes, and then you realize, you know what, it's actually quite a challenging task to win this position. Fortress. I suspect it might not be winning at all. Right. So this could be a fortress, and to be fair, in a couple of more moves, f5 particularly, f5, h5. So you cannot, cannot dislodge this rook from f4. I'm guessing it's just a fortress. So he's captured on h5, and then, by the way, Prague captured here. Rook h4, rook f4 already looks like a fortress to me. You don't need to take this pawn, to be honest. But even this was perfectly enough to make a draw. So sometimes I would call, yeah, sometimes in practical decisions, but again, you're in 2 seconds, it's not so easy. And again, there is one more game I wanted to briefly show, just an illustration how harsh a game of chess is. Because Giri and Alireza, they've played pretty much a perfect game till move 39. White's up a pawn, black has enough compensation for the pawn. And here, if white would have said pass, not move at all. Yeah. Okay, f5, return the pawn, just pass. It's an equal position. And this is where Giri goes rook d4, double question mark, and it turns out you cannot recapture the bishop because after this check, again, rook on the e file, you block with the rook. But just like that. So 39 good moves, 1 bad move, and you're out. So that's why this game is so hard to play.
Ouch.
Chess can be so cruel.
That is very, very, very cruel indeed. Thank you, Miro. And our GCT
Current
standings.
Let's have a look.
As
we know that MVL is leading this tour so far with 20 points. Prague is only 2 points behind him. And Alireza in third place with 16. So all these players are trying to gain as many Grandchester points as possible to make it into the final four.
Well, tell us about the GC Tour and the tournaments coming up. After this, we're going to have our schedule.
So in August, we'll have St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, then Sinquefield Cup. And after that, we'll know who qualifies in the finals. There'll be only 4 players in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah, knockout for that playoffs final. But the Sinquefield Cup, the granddaddy of tournaments here in the United States, that one is really, really fun to be in town for.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you go down to the Central West End and you run into, you can't help but run into grandmasters.
And it's not just grandmasters, it's super grandmasters.
Exactly.
Right? Everyone's above 2,700.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
unfortunately, the changing of the era, the changing of the guard is going to be put on hold because Gukesh is actually, even though he's in the lead, he had a 4-point lead coming in over Magnus today, and that has dwindled to a half a point because he started very, very, very badly. You said...
I know, I still believe in him. He can win now, next game, and then he will get the confidence back, and we can see Gukesh that we saw in the last 3 days.
You say he can win now against Ivan Saric, many times champion of Croatia. I understand he's the local player, but he's nobody's weaker sister.
No,
I mean, if I'm
also
Ivan
having a good
Saric,
tournament.
I'm thinking, you know what? I don't mind playing spoiler. I would love to defeat the world champion in a game of Blitz and make my hometown crowd very, very happy. Jump in, Miro. Lose 4 in a row.
Never happened to me.
No, nothing like that. But that's shocking. I didn't see that.
It is shocking. I guess it's less shocking in Blitz because you do not have this time to reflect and talk to yourself. Maybe say, okay, should I just make a draw, calm down, stop the bleeding. It is hard to come back from, but there is still a lot of distance. So as Nasi said, 1 win, and we stop talking about this 4 out of 4. Yeah, well, if he can win 5 in a row, well, losing 4 in a row is painful, but maybe he wins 5 now and we forget about that.
Well, in that probability chart, I had issues with that coming in. Then Underwood's probability saw Duda having a 30% chance, Magnus having a 30% chance, Gukesh having 30% chance. So that between those 3 players, they had a 90% chance of winning the tournament. And I just somehow, in Blitz, I didn't feel that giving the rest of the field a mere 10% was...
Well, right now, those 3 are still the ones who are leading.
Yeah,
so
but Ferrugia...
It can change tomorrow,
yeah, easily.
for sure.
Well, you've got so many games, 9 and...
Yes, the 18 Blitz games. I mean, that's like 2 whole tournaments.
Exactly.
If
Gukesh can score 14 out of 18 in the Rapids, somebody can score 14 out of 18 in the Blitz.
Right, so our schedule is 2 days of Blitz. Today, total 18 games. They're playing 9 rounds today. There'll be other 9 tomorrow. They'll just switch the colors. And as you already know, time control is 5+2, what we call the long Blitz.
The long Blitz and traditional point scoring system of 1 point for a win and half a point for a draw. We had to catch ourselves because we were calculating 2 points per game in our minds.
And again, Alireza and Gukesh, first ones to arrive.
Yeah, I like that consistency.
They're punctual players.
Yes. And let us choose who we would like as our marquee matchup. We have some nice games. Wesley So versus Magnus.
I want to watch Magnus because he's on a roll now. He won 3 in a row.
Yeah, Gukesh versus Saric, our world champion.
That will be our backup.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on it. If it's a more interesting position, we can switch.
Nodebek versus Duda.
Yeah, we have too many exciting games going on.
Exactly. I'm guessing we're going to go with Wesley So versus Magnus Carlsen. Again, these 2 players on the World Blitz rankings.
They're in top 5, I believe. Both of Magnus is first, and Wesley was either 5th or 6th currently.
5th or 6th, yeah. And, well, whenever you have these clashes of these titans, and we've seen that they've played a lot of chess amongst one another. I'm not sure what their head-to-head in Blitz is like, but I wouldn't doubt for a moment that they've played 100 Blitz games and
Oh, yeah.
online.